Welcome, Valpo fans, to another edition of Valpo Basketball Weekly, brought to you by Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute. I'm Aaron Levitt. Joining me today, the head coach of the Valpo women's basketball team, Mary Evans. Coach Evans, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Aaron.
Looking back at an exciting weekend at the Arc last weekend, two good games, and obviously won the second one of them. But we'll start with the first one because I think it's important to look at kind of the continued improvement and for longer stretches over the course of games. And that Illinois State game Friday night, outside of maybe the third quarter, 3 quarters, you played right with one of the better teams in the league. What did you think was working well for you guys that game? How were you able to play right with the Redbirds that night?
Yeah, I thought we talked about a few different things offensively. Illinois State does a really good job of guarding you and then changing kind of the way they guard you. And in the past, they've done a nice job kind of forcing us to drive the ball middle and not letting us go to the baseline, which is what we normally like to do. So we talked about that all week, introduced a couple concepts that we thought would help us with that. Trying to get away from people and kind of, something that hopefully we can keep in our offense. And it doesn't have to be something that as a coach we have to point out, but just things that they recognize and really teaching spacing and how to work together to create space. And I thought we executed on it really well. We got some good early middle drives, which then I think opened up some baseline drives later on in the game. First quarter, I thought we did a good job of getting Wilson into some foul trouble. She's a physical post inside. And we were able to draw a few offensive fouls on her, as well as I thought we did a decent job limiting her on the glass in the first half. And then, as we got into the third quarter, I thought she really did a nice job kind of imposing her will on the offensive glass, and even our good defensive possessions turned into offensive rebounds and some fouls, which kind of slowed us down. I thought the amount of free throws that they got in the third quarter because of our fouling really slowed our tempo offensively. I thought we did a nice job running in transition early against them, and I thought our tempo got slowed down drastically in the third quarter.
Well, you've been putting together good stretches for longer stretches here at the start of Valley play, and then Sunday it kind of all came together against the Bradley team, which really had been playing much better of late. Obviously, the second quarter offensively stood out in the win over the Braves, but I want to start with the defensive effort, especially the first half. You give up just 25 points. Bradley didn't have an assist in the entire first half. Just what was it about what you were bringing defensively that limited Bradley on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean they run some stuff that's similar to Illinois State, so it's a nice weekend from a game planning standpoint, right? Like both games you can work on all week. And so, I thought we guarded their outside cut ball screen a lot better. And then once they got into their dribble drive, I thought we had taken some of the things that maybe we struggled with on Friday night with Illinois State that we talked about on Saturday. I thought we took those pretty serious and we corrected those. And, we were able to force some off-angle layups. We did a better job of staying on that post player on the backside and boxing that player out. And when we did have to rotate, we did a better job of peeling off and getting somebody on that post player. And again, forcing tough pull-up jumpers and then being in positions to rebound. So I thought we did a really nice job defensively. And I thought when they did score, our team did a fantastic job getting it out quickly and pushing pace on the other end and getting some baskets in transition.
Offensively in the game against the Braves, I know in the post-game press conference you talked about the ball movement, how it was some of the best you've seen in your time here. I also thought the ability to quickly get into our offense, recognizing whether they were in man or zone, because Bradley changes their defense quite a bit, but to recognize that, quickly get into the offense based on what the defense was, really helped out in that 33-point second quarter. How big a impact was that?
Yeah, no, I thought we did push the ball in transition quite a bit, kind of beat the zone down when they were zone. When they were man, we put good early pressure. And we've talked a lot the last couple of weeks about, we want our screening action is fine and we want to play in that. But like if we can get people into rotations just with transition offense, getting our point guards in deep, kicking it up early for some initial drives before the defense is set. That's really what our offense is. We want to get people into their rotations defensively, and however we can do that, once we're in rotations, we want to keep them in rotations and keep making the extra pass if they're going to help. And I thought we saw that a lot in the second quarter where we got something early, we kicked it out instead of settling for that first initial three. We got a second drive when help came, we kicked it. And we've been talking about getting to second drives. In the second quarter, we were getting to third and fourth drives. So those threes we were getting were catch and shoot threes. And when you watch this team shoot in practice, they're making those at a very, very high rate. And so we need to do a better job of having patience offensively and getting to those third, fourth drives and making all those extra passes, because that's when I think we're going to really see our shooting percentages skyrocket.
Obviously, it's always good to get players back from injury. Olivia Brown, after missing a few games, back in the lineup Sunday against Bradley. As a coach, how much easier does it make your job when you have someone of her ability? Obviously, we know she can score the ball, but
Right.
you had her handling the ball a lot on Sunday, her veteran presence on the defensive end. How much easier does that make your job when you can plug her back into the lineup?
Yeah, she was a fantastic spark, obviously not starting and coming off the bench. And her and I had talked a little bit about giving her an opportunity to be at the point a little bit more. So I wanted to see what that looked like. And I was happy with her minutes at the point. And then I was really impressed with her defense, because coming off of an ankle injury, usually the last two things that come back to you are your defense and your shot, because you're having to get lift off of your ankle and just those quick movements. And I thought she did a really good job, not only shooting the basketball, but I thought she sat down and guarded probably the best I'd seen her guard all year. And so if she continues to play like that, she's going to be something to deal with here the last couple of weeks of her senior season.
After being on the road so much earlier in the season, it's been kind of nice. The last couple weekends at home. This coming weekend, you're going back on the road. I believe it's the only time we'll spend it in a hotel for like a 5-week span, going downstate, Indiana State in Evansville. It's nice. It's not quite as long a trip as some of the others we've had in the recent past. What's it going to take to come away with wins on the road this weekend?
Yeah, I think we've got to continue to grow offensively. I think we've saw some things, and we watched a lot of the positive clips yesterday from the game, and we need to try to repeat what we saw. We need to get those multiple screens, those multiple drives, and share the basketball. And I think that's going to continue to grow our man offense. Now we're going to probably see quite a bit of zone this weekend, so we've got to work on that and make sure we're crisp going into the zones we're going to see. In the past, Indiana State's shown us 3-4 different types of zones in the course of the game, so we've got to be able to recognize what they're in and get into what we need to do and then execute in that. So that'll be our challenge, I really think, at Indiana State, and then being able to guard their athleticism and keep them off the boards. They're rebounding the ball at an outrageous rate on the offensive glass, so we're going to have to be very disciplined to box out and pursue, which again, I think we're getting better at. And then Evansville, we got to be ready to guard, dribble, drive, and shrink the floor and box out and play against their run and jump. Take care of the basketball. I think, the last few games that we've had success, we've had very limited turnovers. We're getting that number back down where it needs to be. Our challenge this weekend on the road is to go on the road and handle pressure better. I think both of these teams are going to pressure us a little bit more, and we've got to be able to continue to not turn the basketball over while seeing pressure. And do the things that we want to do offensively.
Friday night at Indiana State, 5 p.m. Central Time, Sunday afternoon at Evansville, 2 p.m. Both those games can be seen live on ESPN+. Coach Evans, thanks for joining me today. Best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, Aaron.
This has been Valpo Basketball Weekly, brought to you by Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute.